mama's in the living room watching Judge Judy. I'm in the kitchen eating leftover sushi, and she yells, "Oh, girl, you gotta hear this one." A man was arrested for running a theme park, and when they said, "Where's your license?" he said, "My dog ate it." Oh, you can't make this shit up. Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout, "Girl, you gotta hear this one." Mama loves to laugh at how absurd life is, says it's all a comedy and I'm her audience. And I love the way she makes fun of the world. She said, "You'll never guess who sued their girlfriend. It was a man who didn't get us out of the bed. He said, I've been through hell and now I need some help. You just can't make this shit up. You just can't make this shit up." Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout, "Girl, you gotta hear this one."
Hey everybody, it's Squid. Welcome back to my channel. How is everybody on this Mondayest of all Mondays? I hope everybody is doing well today. Sorry, I'm trying to cover up because I have a giant ass bruise on my chest. So I am trying to not show that off because it kind of hurts like hell. Hope everybody is doing well. Today is kind of back to where this channel started with trial watching, covering documents. This is a case out of Orange County. It happened last October. I want to say, hold on, let me look at the docket. Yes, last October. And for anybody's entertainment value, this is Orange County, Florida. This is the same county as Sarah Boone. This is the same county as Leslie Federigo's. There's something about Orlando. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's Florida man, but it's like something a little extra. Anyway. It's Florida man on steroids. Hope everybody is doing well. Unhung Hero, thanks for getting us started with 10 Squid Pro Quo memberships. As always, turn in the chat green. There will be a members only live this week. I'm not sure when it will be. But sorry, she loves carrying around ice packs around the house. Like that's her thing, ice. But we use reusable ice packs instead of ice that melts and gets water everywhere. So she's something else today. Anyway, there is something in the water. It's not a new case. It's from October of last year. I did start covering it as soon as it happened. I went over the arrest affidavit. I did not do it in its own stream, so I could not link it. And this is one of the reasons that I hate. I hate when I can't do things in an entire stream by itself is as an initial intro to a case, because sorry, she's distracting me. I can see her, and we're just gonna do this. There we go. As an initial intro to a case, because I can't find it when I go to link it to the next video. Hope everybody is having a great day. Castle, how are you? Good day, chat. I hope everybody is doing well. Hey, Papa Squid in the house. Oh, you're lurking behind the wheel. A little background on this case. Anthony Shea was a former Orange County Sheriff's deputy that was relieved of duty. And I'm sorry, I have to adjust my camera one more time because I messed it up. There we go. That's better. I was really really high. And it's we're I'm picky about my camera. Anthony Shea, former Orange County Sheriff deputy, who was relieved of his job after having an on-duty affair. Take that one with how you will. However, his wife also worked for the or the Orange County Sheriff's Department. He is accused of first-degree unaliving with a firearm and tampering with physical or fabricating evidence, because here's what he is accused of doing. He is accused of unaliving her with a firearm and then trying to stage it as a suicide. I mean, yeah, Orlando's ridiculous. Nothing like the tourism ads. Yeah, and Duncan, Idaho, thanks for being a member for 11 months. SB Mills, here's Jeff saying, Sarah. Oh, that video. That video. I hope. Oh, that video. Hey, Rob. I did go over the initial supplemental discovery, the arrest affidavits, a whole case background. I'm just trying to find the entire video, and I could not find it. But I realized that I have 411 videos. 411. I did not realize that I made 411 live streams. Oh, can we do that later? She likes the tape measure. That's her new favorite toy to play with. So if you see me get hit in the head with a tape measure, this is why. Yeah, that video was a bummer, but it also strongly tied to memories of legal vices for me. Yeah, I miss vices so much. So much. Angel, you're going to have to play with this over there. Okay? Okay. Yeah, took his kids to a store after the deed to try to establish an alibi. Yeah, here's the problem, though. Her phone allegedly was recording and never recorded a loud a noise that if you have ever Angel, no. Maybe later. She's wanting to play with it and she wants me to hold it while she walks around the house. All 25 feet. And then she'll let go of it, and whatever happens to it, it happens. Whatever walls it hits, she doesn't care. However, her phone was recording. I don't know if she started the recording to record an altercation because they had altercations before, and this was her way of protecting herself. I don't know. However, there was no shot that was recorded. I'm not really sure how you can unalive yourself with a weapon like that if there's no boom. I just it's one of those things where you look at it and the math ain't mathin'. So 4 days later he was arrested. So I did post a lot of the docs in the ones that actually mattered in the Discord. I have to update it with some of these. We do have a a bond hearing. This happened back in October of last year. He is still in jail. And hey, Dan. So we're going to get to these docs really quick, and then we're going to watch the hearing. So this was 5th day of September. Trying to find the I believe the state's attorney, Sean Burton Wiggins, is the same attorney who is one of the two attorneys that tried the Sarah Boone case. I'll have to look at that to confirm. Flash fan will know, but he's live in his Discord right now, so he won't be able to answer. There's more discovery. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There was state's evidence, and the judge is keeping all the evidence. There's just, there was court minutes, which we're going to watch the hearing, so we don't need the court minutes. Notice of provision of state's bond hearing exhibits comes now to the state of Florida, by and through undersigned counsel. And Unhung Hero, if you're going to laugh at me for saying comes now, I need it in a super chat. I don't usually like to grift, but sometimes when Unhung Hero laughs at me for saying certain things a certain way, like a certain case in Florida, or that phrase right here, I give him a hard time and say, if you want to laugh at me for it, you got to laugh at me in a super chat form, because yeah. But I am grifting a little bit more this year, or this month, because it is my birthday month. I do turn 40. It's hilarious. I joke that I'm getting old. It doesn't bother me. I laugh at it. It's just, I laugh. I'm having a midlife crisis. I can't believe I'm 40 because I don't feel 40. And Unhung Hero, thanks for the $2 super chat. Comes now. Yeah. I knew that was coming. Yeah, I was typing the super chat before she called me. Oh, Unhung Hero, you've been around this channel for so long that I can see it coming. Yeah, Dan, I joke that I'm having a midlife crisis at 40, but it is what it is. It's just another birthday. I just find it hilarious that I say it, and then apparently somebody was making fun of me for turning 40. It's like, I'm 40, big freaking deal. Yeah. Day number 8 of Squid's birthday month. Yes. And I do have this now. I did put it together, so I'm going to use it for the first time sometime soon, hopefully. We got it figured out. For those sitting in the background and watching, thank you for the views. There's another old homicide case from Orange County where the brother was a deputy, came forward regarding a missing person, ex-wife of brother. Brother worked at a funeral home and put the victim in. Ooh. Oh. Is that the case that you sent me? No, that wasn't. You sent me a case, I believe, yesterday. And I'm going to look into that one. I just already had this plan that, I agree. 40 is just a number. I find it hilarious because it's like, oh yes, I'm the youngest in my family. So I'm like, I make fun of the fact that I'm getting old. I'm still the youngest. So as old as I get, everybody else is still older than me. So that's the funny part. I'm 39 in 6 months. You old. Funny. All right. Assistant State Attorney gives the copies of the state's bond hearing exhibits A through J were delivered to the chambers of Judge Munyon. I have not watched a case with this judge yet. I'm hoping it's another good one. That's in St. Lucie. That's a new arrest on an old homicide. Okay, I will be looking into that one. So it's all downhill from there. Wait till your birthday becomes a blur. Yeah, the only reason I can remember how old I am, I never thought that would be the case. When people go, oh, I forget how old I am, is I was born I was born in 85. So like a multiple of 5. So I get it. That's the only reason I can remember easily how old I am. The math is easy. All right. And then his attorney is Mark O'Mara. So we will move on from that. There's this one. And then a more supplemental discovery. A lot of this is just a lot of these motions, as you can see in this, are literally supplemental discovery. A lot of it is just, yeah, a lot of it is supplemental discovery. So I don't feel like doing a stream, or I don't think I need to do a stream every time a new supplemental discovery. It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like an important thing or enough to worth anybody's time, and it's not interesting. But we do have that hearing from yesterday. This is the first hearing or anything that I've seen that's been televised. So she describes this is Court TV, describes this as a new case. This case is almost a year old. This is not new. They are just new to it. I've known about this case since like a week after it happened, because I have a person that likes to message me and says, hey, have you heard about this? Hey, have you heard about this? And some of them I say I might have time for, and that's really interesting. And the other ones I'm like, I look into and I'm like, it's cool, but I don't have the time for it. So we will get into this. Let me change the way this layout is so that I cover up a little bit of Court TV, and we will get into this. And I have it a little faster because it is an hour. We will see.
Anthony Shea. He is a former sergeant who is charged with killing his wife, a lieutenant, and trying to cover up the murder as a suicide. Victim Ellie Shea was found dead from a gunshot wound. This was back in October of 2024. Both had worked for the sheriff's office, but Anthony resigned due to an internal affairs investigation. The investigation centered around an intimate relationship he had while on duty. Earlier this week, Anthony Shea had a bond hearing, and we got to hear from the lead investigator on that case. Why don't we go ahead and listen to that?
How did law enforcement first become involved in this case?
The sheriff's office received a 911 phone call on October 14th, 2024 at 2:12 p.m.
Who placed that call?
Anthony Shea.
Where did that call originate from?
From their residence.
Have you had an opportunity to review that 911 call?
Yes.
Can you give the court a sense of the audio in that particular 911 call?
It's a male caller who's advising that his wife is shot.
Is there an echo that sort of persists throughout the call?
Yes.
Are you still able to hear what is said between the 911 operator and the defendant, Anthony Shea?
Yes.
Orange County deputies responded to the scene.
Yes.
Approximately what time did they arrive?
They arrived at 2:18 p.m.
I'm going to approach to retrieve what's marked as E and F. We'll start with A, B, and C. By agreement between the state of Florida and the defense, the state would seek to move into evidence what has been marked as States A for identification purposes. This is Detective Gilberti's investigative report that was authored on November 4th, 2024.
No objection, Your Honor, pursuant to what we talked about just a moment ago.
Thank you. It will be offered or it's received as State's Exhibit 1 for this hearing only.
The state would next seek to admit what has been marked as States B for identification purposes, which is Detective Gilberti's supplemental investigative report that was authored on March 19th, 2025.
Same caveat, Mr. O'Mara.
Yes, again, I'm not going to stand up each time. If I can just have that as a standing concern, then I'll just let Mr. Wiggins do what we've already agreed to do.
All right. Thank you. Then B will be received in evidence as State's Exhibit 2 for this hearing only.
So I want to talk to you about two deputies that responded. The first deputy I want to discuss is a Deputy Matthew Cavalcante. Did you have an opportunity to review Deputy Cavalcante's body-worn camera footage?
I did.
Just briefly, can you kind of give a summary of what occurs, very, very briefly in the body-worn camera footage?
So he seemed to take the first statement or account of what occurred from Anthony Shea. Also during the video, you can see Anthony Shea walking around. He appears to have blood on his hands, on his arms, on his shirt. He appears to be looking at his hands a couple times throughout the video.
Is the blood that you saw within that particular body-worn camera recording very visible?
Yes.
Now I want to talk to you about a Sergeant Shelley Pomerleau. When did she arrive in relation to Deputy Cavalcante?
They all arrived about the same time.
Where does she go within the house, and kind of what does she encounter? What's her role during this initial response?
So she goes upstairs to where the victim was located. She makes contact with Anthony Shea, who's providing CPR at that time.
And you reviewed her body cam as well?
Yes.
At this time, the state would seek to move into evidence what has been marked as State's E, which is the body-worn camera recording of Deputy Cavalcante.
Yes, Your Honor.
It will be admitted as exhibit, I guess it's three for this, unless you want to go in order.
We can be three.
All right, it'll be 3 for purposes of this hearing only.
The state would then seek to move into evidence what has been marked as State's F for identification purposes,
Such concern, Your Honor.
which is the state's is the copy of Sergeant Pomerleau's body-worn camera recording. Pomerleau is spelled P-O-M-E-R-L.
It will be received as State's Exhibit 4 for this hearing.
And I'm really, really, really surprised that if he goes to trial, I will be shocked because I feel like he will take a plea just because there's so much evidence against him. There's 800 pages in this one exhibit that they turned over, 800 pages of evidence against you. I'm just like, I don't know exactly what's in there, but it ain't looking good. Personally, I would take a plea deal. But I also...
Dr. Gilberti, I want to talk to you about some of the observations you made from your review of Sergeant Pomerleau's body-worn camera recording. You mentioned the CPR that the defendant was conducting when she enters the room. Where is the decedent, Ellie Shea, whenever she enters the room?
She is on the floor at the foot of the bed.
Did you observe any other objects in the vicinity of both the defendant and Ms. Shea during this initial encounter that is depicted on the body cam?
Yes, there's a cell phone at the foot of the bed, and there's a firearm on the bed.
Did the defendant make any statements about the CPR that he was performing that were notable to you?
He did not want to stop. He stated that he thought he had a pulse while providing CPR.
In the immediate proximity of the defendant, were there 2 objects that you observe and eventually collect that were sort of visible?
The cell phone and the firearm?
Whose cell phone was visible in that?
So Anthony Shea's cell phone was visible. It was on the foot of the bed.
You mentioned that Sergeant Pomerleau has this initial encounter with the defendant. Does she travel downstairs and speak to him about sort of what is happening in this recording?
Yes, so the fire department takes over CPR. They have Anthony Shea go downstairs. Shelley goes down with Anthony Shea, and they discuss. He provides what occurred.
At some point in her recording, does she leave from the defendant's proximity and kind of go back upstairs for a period of time?
Yes.
She returned back downstairs.
Yes.
Do you see a table that's flipped on the ground that had not previously been flipped on the ground?
Yes, so kind of in between the living room and the kitchen, there was a small table that when she came back downstairs, the table was now upside down.
Approximately what time did you arrive on scene?
I arrived at 3:07 p.m.
Is your arrival actually captured on the body-worn camera of Sergeant Pomerleau?
Yes, it is.
Describe sort of what you observe initially upon entry into the residence.
So when I enter the residence, Anthony Shea is sitting in that same area of that table in between the living room and the kitchen. He's sitting and there's a couple deputies around him.
What do you ask the defendant to do?
So we asked Anthony Shea to come outside to conduct an interview.
And does he agree?
Yes, he does.
Going to approach and retrieve.
I have this at 1.25 speed. I'm going to speed it up to 1.3.
What is marked as states G for identification purposes, and seek to move what's marked as G into evidence as the audio recordings of 2 interviews conducted with the defendant on October 14th.
Same caveat, Your Honor.
Thank you. It It will be received as State's Exhibit 5 for this hearing.
What do you learn from that first interview from the defendant concerning circumstances leading up to Ellie's death?
So I learned that Anthony Shea and Ellie Shea had been having relationship troubles due that he had been caught cheating, and they were having a tough time with their relationship. The night before this happened, they went to church. There was an argument at church, which continued when they got home. So they argued till about 3 in the morning, and after the argument, they had intercourse. Then they went to sleep. When they woke up in the morning, Ellie Shea was feeling drained from the emotional aspect of the argument. So she called out sick from work. And according to Anthony Shea, she stayed in bed all day, not feeling well.
What did he tell you about the circumstances of his departure from the residence?
So he described that Ellie asked him for some space. She needed some time alone and to take the children out to the store to get some groceries, take the girls to get some cookies. So that was his plan.
Did he tell you that upon discovering Miss Shea that he immediately started performing CPR?
He did.
And was that also what he had communicated in the 911 call recording?
Yes.
After concluding your interview with the defendant, what did you do next?
Then I conducted a walkthrough of the crime scene. This occurred in a bedroom on the second floor. It's the master bedroom. And when you walk into the bedroom, the bed is set far back, in the back corner. I observed blood on the floor at the base of the bed. Saw the cell phone belonging to Anthony Shea, the firearm on the bed, and a cell phone belonging to Ellie Shea was located. That was also on the bed.
Did a member of the crime scene unit respond to the scene and document the area that you just discussed?
Yes.
Took photos? At this time, the state would seek to move into evidence what has been marked as state's I for identification purposes.
Same caveat, Your Honor.
All right, it will be admitted as State's Exhibit 6.
Why don't we go ahead and bring in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Joe Tamburino just to discuss what we've been seeing so far. Joe, this.
And I'm skipping this part because their commentary doesn't mean crap to me. I don't know. I've watched a couple of things from court TV. I like Law and Crime better, even though I generally hate them all, because their commentary they're a little less biased than like CNN or Fox or MSNBC when they report on a case, because they're actually showing you the actual court. However, they're still they're I have opinions. So
Murder case. That's when we come back. Stay with us. You're watching Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice. Welcome back to Court TV. A fair murder case. Former Orange County Sheriff's Deputy Anthony Shea is accused of murdering his wife, Ellie Shea. This took place last October. He is also charged with trying to stage his wife's death as a suicide inside their Orlando home. Now, according to court documents, Anthony Shea resigned from the force after he had an affair while on duty. The defendant has been in jail without bond for nearly 1 year, and the lead detective is now testifying about the defendant's cell phone. So why don't we go ahead and get back in there?
Whose phone is this?
This is Ellie Shea's phone.
You see this screen when you have a chance to flip the phone over.
Hi.
Do you immediately recognize this audio message that's in the send bar as just that, an audio message that has yet to be been sent to the defendant?
Yes.
What steps did you take on scene to try to preserve this message?
So I took my agency phone and recorded to Axon. I put that phone next to her phone, hit play on her phone, and recorded, created an audio recording as a backup copy of the recording.
Were you able to listen to the recording at that point in time?
I started to listen to it. The problem is it was very difficult to hear. You almost had to have isolated headphones on. And again, I was listening to a copy of a copy. So it needed some, like a quiet space to be able to listen to.
And you didn't have a quiet space at that time?
Not at that time, no.
After your entry or re-entry into the scene and making the observations that you made, did you conduct a second interview with the defendant?
Yes, we did.
During that interview, did he provide some additional facts that he had not provided in the first interview?
Yes.
Did you ask him where Ellie was when he first encountered her?
Yes.
Where did he describe encountering Ms. Shea?
She was on her side of the bed, which was the side closest to the window. She was on her back, but mounted to her side, and her head was on the headboard.
Did he tell you what he did upon finding her?
He pulled her to the floor and started CPR.
You asked some follow-up questions about the firearm during this interview.
Yes.
You talked to the court about how the story that you got in the second interview was a bit different than the story you got in the first interview.
So initially, Anthony Shea stated he did not touch the firearm. During the second interview, he stated that he moved the firearm in order to pull her off of the bed. And he said he tossed it on the bed somewhere, but didn't know where he tossed
it. Were both Ellie's phone and the defendant's phone collected and provided to the digital forensics team?
Yes, they were.
Was an extraction obtained from both of those devices?
Yes,
Did you review the contents of that extraction?
I did.
And this right here is why I tend not to listen to this stuff regular speed or live, because as much as I'm interested in this, and it is
In the two interviews that
there's a
you
lot of pauses,
had an opportunity to conduct with the defendant, did he give you some locations and times that he said that he was at?
Yes.
Did you seek out any surveillance footage to try to corroborate his account?
Yes. So Anthony Shea described that he went to Publix in order to get groceries, as discussed with Ellie before he left. And he described the location of the Publix, which was nearby the residence. So we went to Publix and got surveillance video, which captured him and his children entering the business.
Was the Shea residence equipped with a surveillance camera that sort of captured the front yard and driveway area?
Yes, it was.
Were you able to recover footage from that device?
Yes.
Were you also able to recover data from a smart lock that was on the front door?
Yes.
And what kind of data was able to be recovered from the smart lock?
So the smart lock it logged when the door was open and closed. The front door to the residence.
From these sources, the cell phone extractions, the surveillance footage, and this smart lock, was a timeline created that gave a chronological account of the events that could be established from these sources of evidence?
Yes, it was.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would seek to move into evidence what has been marked as States L for identification purposes.
State cell will be admitted as Exhibit 7 for purposes of this hearing.
Actually, I do have some board diary of the witness, if I might, before this is, I did get this yesterday.
Okay,
But I do have a couple of questions, if I might.
you may.
If I may, Your Honor, I moved it in at that point because I believed that there was an agreement, so I'll ask some additional questions and then there may or may not still be voir dire.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, sir.
Detective Gilbert, with permission from the court, I'll approach the States L. Gilbert, this is a 2-page composite exhibit. Will you flip through both pages for me? Do you recognize those 2 pages?
I do.
And do you recognize those 2 pages and the timeline that is laid out from those 2 pages to be derived from data?
Coming up, we're going to learn more about the relationship between the
Malin, we are in Orange County, Florida, which just so happens to be the exact same county as Sarah Boone. And if you follow the What the Hales drama, Leslie Federigo's is also in Orange County. And the lawsuit where Jeremy Hales et al., Megan Tugg, and the likeness, or, the bunch, is suing Leslie Federigo's is also Orange County. So it's kind of one of those situations of we like to see. Orange County is, I don't know, Orange County has all the crazies. Just
Need to see the corresponding data points within the extraction that appear within the timeline.
Yes.
Same question for Ellie's phone. You reviewed that extraction
Yes.
and the sort of data points and the times that are associated with Ellie's phone that appear within this timeline you saw within the extraction as well.
Yes.
The smart lock data, where did that smart lock data actually come from? Where do we find that?
That was from the.
Let me ask it a better way. Was the smart lock data also on one of the phones?
Yes.
Okay. And so the smart lock data that is included within this particular timeline is also derived from the extraction.
Yes.
And it's a fair and accurate depiction of all that data.
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Any voir dire?
I do, yes, if I might, Your Honor.
You may.
Morning.
I'm just curious because it seems as though this was created because you made the decision that my client, Anthony Shea, murdered his wife, correct?
Based
That was
on
the premise that you had, correct?
based on the investigation.
Oh, no, based on when you say things like Anthony Shea, 1:30:59, Anthony Shea sent a message to Alita's cell phone. What forensic evidence do you have that Mr. Shea did any of that?
Your Honor, I'm just going to object to this question within the voir dire because it does not relate to the admissibility of this particular exhibit, especially in the context of an Arthur hearing where the rules of evidence essentially do not apply.
I understand the state's concern, but if what he's entering into is nothing but supposition and opinion of a witness unrelated to forensic evidence, then I would object because that's exactly what it is and nothing more. He's making suppositions that have no forensic support, and I don't think that that makes it should be admitted into a court because of that concern.
I'm going to sustain the objection, and I will note your objection to the exhibit. But it's certainly fair game for cross-examination.
Okay. Oh, you sustained state's objection?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, gotcha. Okay, thanks then. Nothing.
Hi.
If I might, just a couple more questions. And throughout this timeline that you created, there are a number of entries that you made the decision that Mr. Shea did something without any forensic evidence.
Objection, Your Honor, same objection.
Sustained.
I think it's false. Thanks.
All right. And that exhibit will be admitted as State's Exhibit 7 over objection.
I don't know how I feel about this judge right now. I don't know. She kind of has reminded me of a little bit of Auntie Bev. I hope I'm wrong, but that's the vibe I'm getting. See ya. And Zach, someone just called pretending to be a debt collector and asking for my social security and date of birth. I'm debt for you morons. I keep getting messages about student loans. I use the GI Bill, you idiots. Angel, what's up? Yeah. Tammy, the little says bye. Bye. We're not going anywhere, Angel.
Publishing what's in evidence at States 7. We're going to start at the top of page 1, but before we do, I want to talk about a data point that does not appear on this sort of timeline presentation. You had made reference to the defendant telling you about this terrible argument that had occurred the night before and that he was up till 3 a.m. Did you find any surveillance footage that was of note around that time?
Yes.
What did you find?
There was video captured him exiting the residence, going towards the car,
At what time?
approximately 3 o'clock.
So he's out in his vehicle at 3 a.m.
Yes.
on the 14th.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about this timeline. And I want to begin with this first entry, 0729. Ellie Shea contacted Captain Wright and called out sick from work. Who is Captain Wright?
That's her supervisor.
Within the PSD unit?
Yes. So she works for the sheriff's office in the professional standards division. Captain Tori Wright is the captain over the professional standards division.
As we move through this timeline at 8:06:53, so that would be 8:06:53.
Let's go ahead and bring in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Joe Tamburino to discuss what we have been seeing so far. Defense counsel getting up.
Once again, I don't care about the defense attorney that they bring it in. They have their SRT team having him. He's a former sheriff's deputy, so like, my assumption would be they're taking extra precautions, if you know what I mean, just to yeah, you know what I mean. I don't know if that Angel, what's up? Okay, can I talk now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I believe they're taking extra precautions for him. I just put an order from the judge into
Mommy,
Angel.
I try.
No.
Please. No.
Here you go. An order from the judge into the Discord server.
Oh, sorry.
Mark O'Mara is an excellent defense attorney in Orlando. He's been around for decades, represented some big names in the narcotics world in both state and federal criminal courts. Yes, please. You have to get down, please. You're okay. And the temper tantrum ensues because I put her down. And I only put her down because she elbowed me in the throat. You have to stay down for a little while. You're fine. You're fine. Mwah. I love you. You have all. And I'm skipping past this and excuse her crying. She's doing what 3-year-olds do when they don't get their way.
And presumably, get accidentally started. Again, it goes back to what you and I, I'm outside of the defendant's residence. I mean, so much of today's world is captured on video because of doorbell videos, neighborhood watch videos, all of these things.
Yeah, Joe, thank you so much. Coming up, was it a staged suicide? More from an officer's affair murder case of Anthony Shea. You're watching 4 TV Live, your front row seat to justice. We're coming back.
And I figured y'all would want to be needed for that. He's literally screaming because I do not want
Welcome back, turning now to that brand new case that we are following out of Florida. An officer's affair murder case for defendant Anthony Shea. He is a former sergeant who is charged with killing his wife, a lieutenant, and then trying to cover up the murder as a suicide. Victim Ellie Shea was found dead from a gunshot wound back in October of 2024. Both had worked for the sheriff's office, but Anthony resigned due to a that he had while on duty. Earlier this week, more evident and the victim.
Don't care about
The next message, outgoing message that's referenced is to a Kelly DeGuzman. Who is Kelly DeGuzman in relationship to Ms. Shea?
She's a friend. She also works for the sheriff's office in a as a field service officer.
And we see some additional communication from Ms. Shea to the defendant at 10 in the morning in this next entry. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, we'll just move to 12:22 through 12:24. Anthony makes note, list Brussels sprouts, frozen or fresh junk food ice cream. Where was this data derived from?
From Anthony Shea's phone in the Notes app.
That was an iPhone?
Yes.
No. Who is Tiffany Thompson Disler that is referenced in the 12:41:43 second message?
She's a friend, and then she's also an attorney that was helping Ellie with divorce proceedings.
I want to move to the entry at 12:46 and 41 seconds. Aloyda Shea conducted an internet search. I'm a cop and my husband sexually assaulted me. Where was that derived from?
That was from Ellie Shea's cell phone, her iPhone, in her search history, her internet search history.
We see at 12:50 and 1:20 entries that reference Anthony Shea walking 3 flights of stairs. Where is that data derived from?
That is derived from his cell phone.
It's sort of the activity log within his cell phone.
Yes.
And now I'll move to 1:29:48. Aloyda Shea's cell phone display turns on. Is that once again derived from her cell phone extraction?
Yes.
And a little bit more than a minute later, the entry reads Anthony Shea sent a message from Aloyda Shea's cell phone to his cell phone. Have we seen that message in an image from the CSI photos?
Yes.
Okay. And then the next entry is Anthony Shea, then 3 seconds later, inadvertently activated the audio recorder on Aloyda Shea's cell phone. I now want to talk to you about first, what's in evidence as has been marked as.
This is what I was talking about earlier, that 1:31:02. Anthony Shea then 3 seconds later inadvertently activated the audio recorder on her cell phone. He recorded the whole thing without realizing it. Once again, for those of you who watch the channel Mo in the Deep End, you know Mo and you know the Moisms and Mama Mo's life advice. She doesn't provide life advice, neither do I. But if you were to take her life advice, if you're going to do something stupid, don't record it. Just a thought.
States Exhibit J, which is the audio message that was recovered through the forensic extraction of Ms. Shea's phone.
Same caveat, I assume.
Yes, and an additional one. For today's purposes, I think it is probably admissible, but it has been enhanced. We do not know how. We do not know how degraded it might have been because we don't have any of the background on the enhancement. So if that concern as well, but again, I think for today's purposes, as long as that objection is also maintained and the court considers that concern, I think with the relaxed evidentiary codes for author variance and pretrial variance.
And Jeff, I can see why he's a really good attorney, but I can also see why I would hate him as an attorney if I was a prosecutor because he's nitpicky. And I don't believe that he gets, and this is my personal opinion of defense attorneys and why sometimes I really hate defense attorneys. They get their clients, generally speaking, from what I've noticed, off the hook on technicalities, procedural problems, not that their clients are actually innocent. That's not always the case. There's a lot of people that go to trial who are generally innocent, genuinely innocent. But think the lawyer for Casey Anthony. Think I don't know, what the stupid actor out in Mexico when he was filming a movie, Rust, and shot Alec Baldwin. He shot her. He unalived her. Yet here he is because of a procedural error that the defense called out. This is what I hate about defense attorneys.
If I may just offer a point of clarification, State's J is the raw file that was extracted from the phone with no enhancements. That was the file that was provided to the court, but the court was unable to review. The state has separately created an exhibit, which is State's K, which includes the enhanced version of that same file, and the state will seek to move those exhibits in separately for the court's consideration.
And I'll wait on my objection. I just saw that J included, at least in the list given to me by the state, included the enhanced, but I now understand that he separated them out for our purposes.
J will be admitted as State's Exhibit 8 for this hearing.
And I'm just writing down dates because in the docket there are dates for
Publishing what's in evidence is State's Exhibit 8.
Do you intend to play the entire 50+ minutes?
I do not, Your Honor. I intend to play about 1 minute and 7 seconds in the start and a few minutes on the back end.
Okay, thank you.
So before I publish what's in evidence as State's 8, how long is this recording?
54 minutes and 17 seconds.
Is it a continuous recording from when the recording starts to when it reaches that 54-minute and 17-second mark?
Yes.
When did you first have an opportunity to actually be in a quiet place and review the extracted version of this recording?
It was the following day.
During that review, were you able to take more away from this recording than you were when you reviewed the kind of recording of a recording?
Yes.
We'll publish what's in evidence. To Detective Bill Birdie.
All right, they're playing something there in court, but we really can't hear the audio. So why don't we bring in criminal defense attorney Josh Shiver,
Here they go
who is
again.
joining us this morning.
Oh, this guy. Look at them glasses. Sorry, I don't want me to make fun of anybody's appearance, but the old AirPods, like the first generation AirPods. And yeah. Here is my thing. This is another one of those, like, you can see that he knows how much he effed up. Here's the issue. And this is what I can't understand. Like, as much as I might despise people or dislike people or whatever, or have disagreements with people, like, like I was saying with Carly Gregg, the teenager that unalived her mom, permanent solutions for temporary problems. So you cheated. You fucked up. Big deal. Like, shit happens. Yes, you screwed up your entire life, but life goes on. She wants a divorce. Who the hell cares? Like, yes, does it suck? Yes, but which sucks worse? Getting a divorce and you won't be paying alimony because she makes more than you. So like get over it. Like, now permanent problem to a temporary solution. Now your two daughters lost both of their parents. One is unalived and permanently gone, and the other one's going to spend the rest of their life in jail, most likely. I mean, let's be real here. Like, there are other issues, like there are other solutions, or just sucking it up and being a man. I mean, yes, divorce sucks. My parents got divorced when I was 2. I don't know what it's like to have parents that are together. So, but if you know both of my parents, that's probably for the best. Just saying. Just saying. It's just one of them situations, like, I don't understand. And this is what is fascinating and why I like psychology so much. What goes through people's heads that you want to take a permanent action for a temporary problem? Yeah, has he heard of co-parenting? Yeah, now he doesn't have to go shopping anymore. I know, right? Yeah, I'm just, yeah. Cheaters suck. Cheaters are horrible people. However, you screwed up. Be a man. Admit that you were wrong. Your wife wanted a divorce. Big deal. You screwed up. That's the consequences. I just, no matter how many of these trials I watch, I just can't understand the, like, if you want to go do something, go to like a range. If you want to get pissed at something, get a punching bag and beat the crap out of that. Like, there are legal ways to get out some, start a YouTube channel and bitch to the internet. Lots of people do that. You're truly included. Ah, it's one of them situations where it's like, huh, the what? Like, how many soap bars has he dropped? Shit.
Death much more likely, and that's the state's theory here. The state's theory is that there was a disagreement that led to the. Unfortunately, we're dealing with sophisticated defendants.
And I've never been so mad at anybody where I felt the need to like, I don't know.
In the enhanced file, did you hear a sound sort of at the very beginning of the recording that you thought you may have recognized?
Yes.
What did you do in order to try to confirm or refute that suspicion?
So there's some sort of a metallic clicking noise in the beginning, and I believe there was a doorknob to the room. The fact the door was locked, and it sounds like there's a child at the door. So I believed that the door to the bedroom was locked. One of the children had come upstairs and tried to get in and was jiggling the doorknob. So while at the residence, I conducted a recreation of that to essentially duplicate the sound.
And did you hear a sound that to your ear sounded?
Which makes sense, and to me would be good police work. I hear a sound that's unaccounted for, and I try to recreate it. What does that sound like? Sounds like a door. Would the door be locked? Let's recreate the sound and record it so we have a baseline of this is what was on the recording and this is what we did to try to recreate it and see if they match. Sometimes it's not perfect science, but you got to do what you got to do to get by.
Familiar to the noise that you had heard on the recording.
Yes.
I want to go back to the timeline that's in evidence. So based on the timeline that's in evidence, that you're able to kind of reconstruct from when the recording started, how long was the defendant inside the room with a deceased Ellie Shea before we hear the first word come out of his mouth?
50 seconds, 50.
And while inside that room, does he receive some sort of ping notification noise?
Yes.
And did his phone reveal that he actually turns the flashlight on some seconds before he calls 911?
Yes.
Does that recording continue until Sergeant Palmerloo enters the room, as we previously discussed?
Yes.
At this time, the state would seek to give evidence what is now been marked as state's E, Deputy Cavalcante's body camera footage, and F, Sergeant Palmerloo's body worn camera footage.
Same caveat, Your Honor.
All right, they will be admitted as states exhibits 11 and 12 respectively.
Let's ask you a bit more plainly. Do you ever hear a gunshot at any point during that 54-minute and 17-second recording?
No gunshot is ever heard.
Do you hear any
54 minutes of a recording on her phone and no gunshot. How do you unalive yourself with no? The math ain't mathin'.
any noise other than that AC unit from the moment that the defendant tells one of his children that Ellie is sleeping to when he returns back into the room?
No.
What does the defendant do while at Publix as it relates to setting up an appointment
He sets up an appointment for marriage counseling.
while at Publix?
Yes.
And does he communicate that to Ellie?
Yes, he sends a calendar invite to her phone.
What's in evidence first admit what's been marked as states A, which was previously identified as the November 4th, 2024 report.
You didn't say caveat, Your Honor.
It will be admitted as the state's next number to student. 1A is 1, yes.
It just wasn't sorry.
A is 1, B is 2.
Publishing what's in evidence in states 1, Detective Gilbert's investigative report. Looking at page 24 of your report, at the top of that screenshot, can you describe for both the court and the record what was visible when you first laid eyes on the phone?
So this is the phone that was upside down on the bed. When it flipped over, it was open to the message thread with that same, with the audio recording in the send bar. At the top of the screen is a notification for a calendar invite for marriage counseling. It was scheduled to be on October 16th at 4 p.m.
And based off of the facts that you developed through your investigation, that counseling session would have been scheduled and sent to Ellie after she was killed.
Yes.
The first blue bubble that is pictured, could you read that blue bubble?
Just the Brussels. Tony, I can't do this anymore. Please understand it's too much what you did to me. I can't anymore. Take the girls for a drive. Give me space, please.
And is that the message that was sent just seconds before this recording begins on Ms. Shea's phone?
Yes.
And there's a reference in the timeline to 2 additional messages. So we'll go back to the timeline, which is in evidence as states 7. We see a reference to some communication that occurs upon his return. We see here at 2:09:24. Go back to states 1. We see the content of those messages that are referenced.
Malin, my assumption would be he's still going to claim that she self-deleted. because that's what he tried to stage it as, and anything else, he still tampered with evidence because he's being charged with 2 things. First degree unaliving, and the second charge is tampering or tampering with or fabricating physical evidence. So if anything changes, the logic there. Here's the thing about this is where my brain goes anyway. And I'm not a lawyer, so take this with a grain of salt, but like my troubleshooting brain and problem solving, if he tries to change his defense to anything other than she self-deleted, that second charge of tampering with evidence, he's guilty. And in my mind, he's guilty of that because that's what you said. She must have self-deleted. You tried to make it look like that. And then if you change your story now, that second charge, you're going to be guilty of that second charge no matter what happens. So my assumption would be his defense is going to continue to be that she self-deleted. I don't know any other. Yeah.
Princeton.
Yes.
Can you just read those in for the record?
We just left. The girls tried to come upstairs. You locked the door. I'm sorry about last night and what I said. I know that.
Uh-oh.
I think the word at church yesterday was fitting. Whether we sell the house, don't sell, whatever you want, I will do. I love you. Get some sleep, my love. Want me to bring a guava con queso for dessert? And then the second message is, I'm downstairs. Our counseling is for this Wednesday at 1600. I sent you an invite. Let me know when you're awake. I will keep these chicks busy with popsicles, LOL.
Was an arrest warrant obtained for the defendant on October 18th, 2024?
Yes,
Where was he arrested?
he was arrested on Lake Underhill at the intersection of Econ Lockahatchee Trail.
Where was he at when he was?
Within Orange County. He was driving his Telluride, Kia Telluride SUV.
Return to publishing what's in evidence as states 6, the CSI photos. Subsequent to the defendant's arrest was another search warrant served on the Shea residence.
Yes.
And I'm pulling up a set of photos that is within the subfolder 1018-2024. Are these some of the photos that were taken during that post-arrest search warrant?
Yes.
I need to clear something up. You had referred to ENF and admitted them as 11 and 12. They were previously admitted as 3 and 4. So I just need to make sure that it's clear.
Sorry about that. I think they had it in my apologies here.
So we're striking 11 and 12 because they already exist.
They already exist as 3 and 4. I thought I was going crazy, but I'm not.
I was with you.
Well,
You're right there
Georgia
with
wasn't
me.
go
I
that
was.
far. Yeah, there's something about the water in Orange County.
Returning to our discussion of these photos of where are we at and what is the court looking at?
So this is inside the Shea residence. We're looking at a chair with a backpack.
And the contents of that chair were searched, or the backpack on that chair were searched.
Yes.
And that's what's going on in the next photo in this exhibit.
Yes.
What are we looking at in photograph ending 639?
So there's prescription medication for Anthony Shea that was inside the backpack. There was a wallet containing his Florida driver's license, credit cards,
Additional medications in the backpack.
additional medication.
Within one of the pockets of the backpack was opened, and what do we see here that's about to be pulled out?
His U.S. passport.
And was there an envelope next to the U.S. passport?
Yes. There's a bank envelope inside the bag also.
Photograph 3654, is that U.S. passport that was next to that bank envelope?
Yes.
And when that bank envelope,
Coming up, we're going to hear the cross-examination of the lead detective in an officer's affair murder trial. And next hour, we hear testimony from one of the victim's friends in the kiss and kill murder trial for Samantha Krebs. That's coming up next.
All right, guys. I will be doing a stream later on, probably around 6 p.m. Because I just checked the docket for Orange County. And on the 2nd, and I missed it because I was paying attention to other stuff. Michael Ferderigo's posted a 17-page motion to dismiss Jeremy's lawsuit. So we will be reading that. we will be reading that, but here we go, finishing this up. I'm going to make the thumbnail for that, and I'm probably going to do that around 6 o'clock. So before Megan and Tug go live with anything, but after Mr. Squid gets settled in for the night. Oh no. What are you laughing at? Yeah, good luck. Oh, you've read it already? Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a bunch of people who read it, because that's not a case I check very often, because I mean, it's interesting, but it's like, it's not interesting because it's just so damn obvious. It's kind of one of them cases where you're like, she stepped in it. So it's like, it's interesting, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know how to describe that.
Shea had a bond hearing, and we got to hear from the lead investigator on that case. Now he's on cross-examination being questioned about the defendant's timeline.
321 or 50.
Going back then to the timeline for a moment and the information you got from the phone, we did something similar. You heard me ask you questions about what, if anything, you heard Miss Shea say after Mr. Shea said, "Bye, babe." And it was your testimony, you heard nothing?
Correct.
Okay. I note from the download that at 1:42:04 p.m., at that point, after Mr. Shea left, your theory of the case and based upon your investigation, where was the phone?
Ellie's phone?
Yes, I'm sorry.
It was still on the bed.
I'm sorry.
It was on the bed?
It was always on the bed, correct?
Correct.
And it's your understanding that whatever happened, that phone never left the house, correct?
Correct.
And seemingly, you don't have any evidence that it ever left the bedroom.
Correct.
Okay. There's a notation on the download from the phone that at 1:42:04 p.m., a notification was removed from the phone. Can you explain that?
Does it say what the notification was?
Do you know what? And
All
I'm
the
not, this is
time.
not a
You
challenge
have to be
question.
more
You know what we talk about when I say
specific.
notification?
Yes.
It's a pop-up that shows up.
Yes.
You know the only ways that it can be removed?
I think that would be more of a technical question for the digital forensics, but
Well, do you have any explanation for how a notification at 1:42? Now let's just clear this up a little bit. Where do you believe Mr. Shea was at 1:42?
he would be on the trip to Publix.
Right, or at Publix, right?
At Publix.
Left the house about 1:32. So at Publix, but certainly nowhere near the house, correct?
Correct.
And his phone, which was with him, documents that, correct?
Correct.
With that thought in mind, that Mr. Shea was not anywhere near the phone, do you have any explanation for how a notification at 1:42:04 p.m. was removed from her phone?
No.
Was there anybody else in the room besides her?
No.
Could it have been her who removed the notification?
I don't know the answer to that.
Possibly?
When did Mr. Shea get back to the residence?
It was 2:02 p.m.
About 2 p.m.?
Yes, just after 2.
My understanding from the download is that at 2:01, that he and the girls are getting out of the car. Does that help refresh your recollection?
Yes.
You had made some notes in your timeline about up and down stairs. 12:50, Anthony Shea walks 3 flights of stairs.
Yes.
What is the relevance of that to you and your investigation such that it made it on to the 20 or so entries here?
So his phone tracks his activity. The relevance to this case would be that he would enter the house and go upstairs to the room where Ellie was found.
At 12:50? I'm sorry. Let's back up a little bit just so we don't get confused with timing, because I thought I was.
I feel
wanna
like
be
the
clear
lawyer
with
is
the
either
timeline.
confused with timing or is
My understanding is
confusing the
At 1:50, we know that he is
Okay.
leaving the store of Publix.
Right.
Is that about right?
Yes.
That about 2 o'clock, he's back to the house.
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody else feel like he is acting like he's confused? He's acting. I mean, he might be a really good lawyer, but he's a shitty actor. He's acting like he's confused about the timeline, making everybody else confused about the timeline. And you know how we are when we get confused about a timeline, how we say stuff and we're like, no, that's not right, because, well, that that detective is under oath right now. So if he says stuff, this lawyer can go back and be like, well, you said at this date and this time under oath that this is what the timeline was. So now you're backtracking on that. I feel like this is one of his freaking shady get people out of jail tactics, is literally get people out of jail because that's his job. Is he convolutes the timeline like somebody else I know. They make a whole lot of freaking this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and you get confused about what happened and when, and he's like gaslighting. He's making you think that you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Because he's like, let's back up so we don't get confused. You just mentioned 3 or 4 different times already without even asking a question. And it's like, now I know your fucking tricks. And this is why I hate sleazy lawyers. Because they do shit like this. I hate fucking people who do shit like this. Like, and Gail, I did check Pacer today to see if there was any federal documents. That only cost me 20 cents. Orange County, Florida, Tiffany Moore Russell is their clerk of court. She is amazing. Whoever made her website is amazing. That's free and it's so simple. It's probably the easiest website to navigate in the entire country for documents. So I appreciate the attempt at grifting for me, but this is the time when I'm really bad at grifting, because I'm oh so honest and be like, I only spent 20 cents on Pacer docs today, so you know.
I'm just curious that about an hour before, it seems Mr. Shea's phone suggests he's walking 3 flights of stairs. And what's the relevance to your investigation?
He was either going upstairs or downstairs from the bedroom.
Okay, but does that have any insight or relevance on the investigation of this case, that he went upstairs and downstairs?
It was more to demonstrate that his phone was tracking his activity throughout the house.
Oh, that was its only purpose?
Yes.
Also, at 1:20, you state he walks 1 flight of stairs, about a half hour later. Relevance?
Based on the phone download.
Right, it's an iPhone.
Yes.
It tracks us everywhere we go and everything we do, it seems, right? And does it tell you going up or going down?
That's what
No, it just
GPS
says 3 flights of stairs or 1 flight of
It doesn't
stairs.
say who's holding the phone either, does it?
No.
Did you talk to Tony about the girls using his phone?
You
Did you ask
do
that question to address this issue?
No.
And then again, there's another mention at 2:11, and let's just keep the 2:11 context in mind. 2:11 is right at about the same time that Mr. Shea and the girls get back home. Does this sound about right? And I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm just looking at your timeline.
Right, that would be, if he got back at 2:01, 2:11 would be when he went upstairs to, as he stated, discover Ellie.
Okay. So,
Because the 911 call came in at 2:12.
right.
So
So
2:11 would be him going up to the room, ultimately discovering her.
in line with what he said he did, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's relevant to the fact that Mr. Shea was speaking the truth when he said,
I would love to hear a medical examiner and talk about time of death. I know it's not like the movies where they can tell you she died at 150 or 140. She could have been unalived before he left for Publix. Just a thought. But also not found until after, so that he made himself an alibi. Just a thought. Nice try, bro, but we got pushback on that.
I got home, I went upstairs and I found her.
That can proper characterization.
I'm sorry, I said speak the truth. Mr. Shea told you that he had gone upstairs and that's when he found Ms. Shea.
It's consistent with his statement, yes.
And again, as you just said, about that very minute, he called 911.
Yes, that's at 2:12, yes.
Yeah, because he already knew she was saying.
At 2:04:06,
I also have another question. This is where my healthcare background and doing CPR and knowing how, anatomy and physiology and shit works. Doing CPR on a corpse, will you get the same blood flow? Because when you do CPR on somebody with a wound, you're literally expelling more blood through that wound. So I'm interested to see if they can tell if he was doing CPR on a dead body just based on blood flow and blood loss and the coagulation of the blood outside the body versus this is where my brain goes and gets all sciencey and shit that's over my head, but it's one of those, except she used his phone while he was gone to clear a notification. But there's questions about that though, because we haven't actually seen the data. That's just what his lawyer said. We haven't actually seen the forensic data as to what that was. So, but I want to see the medical examiner's report, and if I can get my hands on it, I will be sharing it with as little gory of detail as possible. But I'm curious because that's a question that runs through my head of like if she was already unalived at the time he started doing CPR, and she had been unalived for maybe a half an hour. I've seen CPR and I've done CPR on a person who is technically still alive, dead but alive. And I wonder what CPR looks like on someone with a wound who, because blood starts to coagulate as soon as it leaves the body. That's why it starts to clot. That's what helps us stop bleeding. But it's just one of those sciencey healthcare questions that I have. Notifications, leave my phone on their own all the time. Yeah, and that's what I have. What did he mean by cleared? Like, was it a push notification? Or was it an actual like a Facebook notification that won't go until you clear it? Or is it something like this that you can see my notifications at the bottom so that like it's a this is where my brain goes in all the line of questioning. I'm not a super sciencey person as far as like my education, and I could not tell you forensics, but from the healthcare perspective, especially when he says he did CPR, it's like, one, you can tell if you were doing CPR effectively because there will be damage, internal bruising and such, and other issues, but also you're pumping CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. You're pumping blood through the body to maintain oxygen to the brain and to the lungs. Like you're maintaining blood flow and oxygen flow. The problem is when you have, I'm trying to figure out how to word this without pissing off YouTube. When you have a gaping wound somewhere where a lot of red stuff is leaking out and you push down on the heart, it's going to leak out of the hole in you more. I don't know. That was the best I could do with being YouTube friendly, because YouTube does not like the red substance. They will demonetize the video for showing any blood. Like there you go. You're making the heart circulate blood through the body, but when you have a wound and you have red stuff pouring out of your body, when you're trying to circulate blood through the body, it's going to leave at a faster rate through that one spot. But if you're trying to do CPR on somebody who was unalived an hour ago and their blood has started to coagulate, and this is also like, rigor, and rigor doesn't start for hours, but things like that, like you scientifically would be able to prove some of these things. And that's another reason why you don't do shit like this, because it's easy to prove. Hong Hero, thank you for the $2 super chat, and thank you for ensuring that I don't completely work for free today. However, no one likes. I do I have to read this? Because I feel like somebody is gonna snip this, and this is gonna be on like uh what's his name's next stream. Uh, yeah, blood is clotted, won't come out the hole. Yeah, but it's like it's just the process of being able to scientifically tell that. It's the process of being able to scientifically tell that that is over my head, um, as far as a forensic, but there's gotta be a way to prove that, and I personally would love to be the one who tests that theory. I just a thought in a lab somewhere. I'd love for that to be my job. Oh, yeah, clipping ready. Oh boy. I mean, I could go a lot of places with that unsung hero because um anybody who's um any mother who has fed their baby with their own body knows that nobody does like to leak. You don't even have to be within a mile of your child. Another kid cries and all of a sudden you look down and you're like, "Oh crap." So, give this room a quick snip snip. I have no words for the science. Yeah, there's got to be a forensic pathologist who's doing some testing like that or did some testing like that. It should be an interesting, and this is what makes trials so interesting is how people think they're going to get away with stuff. It's just not, yeah. But we've got like 10 minutes left on this and then we'll call it a day. I'll make the thumbnail for the next stream.
Another notification was removed from Miss Shea's phone. Can you explain that?
I'm going to object to facts, not in evidence, Your Honor. This is not in a report it's been introduced. I don't know where it's being drawn from. The court doesn't have this before for either itself or the witness.
Well, the witness may know or not know whether a notification was removed.
And I can lay a foundation that he has testified and actually created an exhibit for this court to consider based upon his review of the source documents, which are the true self-write downloads of the phones. And I'm questioning about entries on those self-write downloads.
If I may, Your Honor, the issue is that these are reports that are sometimes hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lines. And to just ask about something like that in the abstract without actually being in evidence, I think is depriving both the state, the court, and the witness from actually being able to understand what is being questioned.
I'm going to overrule the objection. If he doesn't know or needs to see the document, he'll say so.
Sure.
So there are two premises here that we're trying to work through, correct? One is that it is your belief that Mr. Shea intentionally and with malice aforethought caused the death of his wife, correct?
Yes.
Or she committed suicide. You know that to be the other track of the facts of this case, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Within that context, would you consider it relevant whether or not there are actions or activities on that phone while it was with Ms. Shea and Ms. Shea alone?
I think with a review of the extraction, it may explain why the notification was removed.
Did you understand my question? My question was, would it be relevant to this investigation to look into the issue of whether or not notifications may have been removed from a phone when they were only with Ms. Shea?
Yes.
Okay. And would it be similarly relevant to the investigation and potentially what path we're going down as to whether or not those notifications were caused by a person still alive in that room with that phone?
Yes.
All right, coming up, we're going to hear more of that cross-examination of the lead.
Okay, another question that I would have with that is if he shot her and then left and she was still alive, could her clearing the notification be her attempt at unlocking her phone and dialing 911? Or you don't even need to unlock the phone. You can hit, if you hit a certain combination of buttons on the iPhone, you can dial 911. So maybe the clearing the notification was her still being alive, because she was a cop at the end of the day. I mean, she worked for the sheriff's department, so she had some training on, things, and she's not stupid. So, like, maybe she played dead. Hypothetical situation to what led to her being the one to clear the notification. He shot her. He thought she was dead. She was not. He leaves. She clears the notification in an attempt to get help. And instead of being able to call 911, she clears the notification and, no. Tugga's personal experience with what? Calling 911 from an iPhone? Or calling 911 from an iPhone, or this case, the facts of this case so far. Because Jeffrey, I had cops show up at my house a couple weeks ago because somebody decided that they wanted to try to call 911, and we had 2 cop cars at our house for a 3-year-old, and Mr. Squid. Yeah, that's the thing. 911 is never deactivated. She was using, She was using this phone, which is dead right now, but it was my grandfather's, and it doesn't have a cell phone plan. It was attached to the internet, and all you need is internet access. You don't even have to have Wi-Fi calling turned on to call 911 from an iPhone. And you don't even have to call 911. You just have to hit a certain button a few times in a row, and you will call 911. Mr. Squid let him into the house and was like, "Yeah, you can take her away." The officer came in and looked at her and was like, "Yeah, this happens all the time." I'm like, "Yeah, my bad." So, and, yeah, you don't. That's the thing about a. Yep, they track GPS. Yep. Woo, Squid, watch your words so YouTube doesn't get mad. I'm trying. And that's part of the reason I sometimes stumble over my words is I want to say it the way I want to say it. And then I'm like, wait, if I say it that way, YouTube, they don't have a problem with the bigger channels like Law and Crime, Court TV, major news, mainstream media news outlets can say whatever they want and seem to be fine. But the little guys, we say certain words, and it's like, I can say the F-bomb, but I can't really, I can get away with saying self-delete, the real word for that, like once. But if it's said more than a couple of times, then they get like, it seems like the AI algorithm like looks at your stream a little closer and was like, wait, you said that more than once. What's going on here? So, yep, all phones are programmed, whether they are hooked up to servers or not, to contact 911. I keep flip phone in my car with that purpose with no service. And that's a really good idea. I didn't realize that cell phones, I knew cell phones hooked up to the internet, if you had Wi-Fi calling on, would. I didn't realize that you didn't need Wi-Fi calling to do it. Or the fact that you didn't even need to call 911. Because she called some random like star 8775, like, 8765309 kind of number. So, but we'll get back into this, and I had to start making the thumbnail because I had to get my face to turn back to white from whatever color Ung Hero made it.
Dead inside the master bedroom of their Orlando home. This was last year. Anthony Shea is. Let's go back inside the courtroom now. The lead detective is on cross-examination.
There was a photograph that was taken out of the Nest Cam of Mr. Shea taking the children next door. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. Of what relevance do you assign to that?
It documents that he took the children next door, and at that time, there is silence again in the bedroom on the audio recording. So it confirms he left the residence and the reason for silence on the, or inactivity on the audio recording.
Okay. Any other relevance or investigative insight other than the fact that we can see he left the residence he said he left?
It shows that there was a break in CPR.
Okay, because he went to get his children out of the residence. I think he even said to you in one of the interviews that the girls had come up to the door and he wanted to get them out.
Yes.
Now he's got a mom, a wife, either having passed or passing away potentially, and he wants his girls out of there.
Yes.
And do you then blame some way, find that to be evidence of bad behavior by Mr. Shea that should be considered?
It corroborates his account
That he left
that he left and brought the kids next door.
and that there was a break in the CPR?
Yes.
Nothing else? It's your investigation. Anything else?
No.
I really hope this investigation is tight.
I know, as we testified to before lunch, that you are of the belief or position that Mr. Shea is guilty of first-degree murder.
Fictional relevance.
It was a premise question. Was it challenging with it?
Overruled.
Is there any forensic evidence, any evidence that we can look to and say, here's how I know he did it because of this piece of evidence that cannot be explained away in the entirety of your investigation to date? And by the way, that investigation has included how many subpoenas to third-party record providers?
Numerous.
Dozens and dozens, right?
Yes.
Banks, credit cards. You just have to say yes. So she
Yes.
does it. And cell phones, of course.
Yes.
Websites,
Yes.
Facebook, LinkedIn, the whole slew of them, right?
Yes.
Right? I'm just curious if there's any that you have not yet done in your investigation to try and prove Mr. Shea's guilt. Any record repository that's out there that you haven't tried to get to yet?
No.
And having reviewed, you've gotten all those reports and results already, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you've had this case for a year close.
Since October 14th.
Sorry.
2024.
With all of that you have gathered, is there a piece of forensic evidence that you can present that, conclusively says this is why it's first-degree murder?
Based on his sending the text messages and appearing to plan.
Well, your theory is that he planned and in doing the planning, that he
would covering up.
I don't want to talk over you.
Okay.
That he would plan it. So for example, the marriage counseling text, you perceive that to be completely made up, right?
Correct.
Postured to show that he had not already killed his wife.
Correct.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and bring in criminal defense attorney Josh Schiffer to discuss what we've been listening to so far.
And Malin, he hasn't gotten an offer yet from the state. It's too early. This is still a bond hearing. He's still in jail. There is still nothing. And I think this might be the end of it.
Same time, the defense, and that's how they
Important
Glasses.
in cases and really laying out
And that is the end of that. And that lady's voice just gets me every time. Oh, your spelling is fine. Considering you speak more than one language and I struggle with English, and English isn't your first language, you do just fine. English is supposed to be my first language. And some days I can't even And it's always the totality of the evidence. There's almost never just one thing. Yes, Snipe Hunter, I'm not sure exactly. Okay, there's... and Jeff might know more about this, but Bates Page's numbering system, they turned over pages, the state turned over pages 834 to 927. The state previously provided Bates pages 1 through 833. So I'm not sure what exactly are on those pages and that numbering system. That numbering system I've heard before in the legal world. I am just not familiar with the technicalities of it. Once again, not a lawyer, not even a paralegal. However, 927 pages of stuff is is pretty it is pretty telling. I mean, if the state has 927 pages of stuff, but spoiler alert, this is the order from the judge in relation to this hearing. Order on motion to set reasonable bond from the Arthur hearing. This cause having come before the court on defendant's motion to set reasonable bond and memorandum of law in support filed on July 31st, and the court having reviewed the pleadings of record, hearing testimony of witnesses and argument, reviewing and considering the evidence presented, and being otherwise fully advised in the premise, the court finds that proof of guilt is evident or presumption great. Despite the finding, the court recognizes that it has discretion to set bond. However, the court declines to exercise that discretion. Wherefore, I like the way this judge writes. I like the way this judge writes. She's like, proof of guilt is evident or presumption great. Despite this finding, the court recognizes that it has discretion to set bond. However, the court declines to exercise that discretion. Wherefore, it is thereupon ordered and adjudged as follows. Defendant's motion to set reasonable bond and memorandum of law in support is hereby denied. Done in order in chambers at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, 5th day of September, 2025. Honorable Judge Lisa Munyon. Denied. Sit down. Stay in jail. Yeah, so there was that. There was that wonderful fun. Bond hearings are always interesting to me. Are always interesting to me. I don't know why. I am going to do a stream probably at 6:30 tonight. Between 6 and 6:30. And it's okay, Malin. You're fine. No, you never need to apologize to me for stuff. Yeah. The judge doesn't eat the oranges from Orange County. Yeah. Because in that same county, Michael Federico has filed a 17-page motion to dismiss the lawsuit from Megan, Tug, Jeremy, George, and Elephant Shoe. So we will be reading that. It was filed on the 2nd, but I don't check that law, or I don't check that very much. Also, he filed 2 motions for an extension, and the judge never responded to him. So I hadn't checked it in a while, maybe since like the end of August. But yeah, 17 pages. Megan and Tug, I don't know if they're going over their own lawsuit. I wouldn't, but that's just me personally. But on that note, Jen Woodall, a member of this channel and a friend of this channel, I have been talking to her off of YouTube for months about her situation. She has a link to a GoFundMe to rent a car to go to her son's wedding. She is in North Carolina. Her son is in New York. I am going to post the link for you guys. If you want to donate, great. And if you don't, I completely understand. However, I have talked to her enough where I know the facts of this story to be true. Her son lives in New York, is getting married, and also has a child that she has not met yet. So I'm going to post a link for her GoFundMe. She has her entire story there. She is also a chronic pain sufferer like me and has been in and out of the hospital, which is part of the financial problems. In addition to being denied, how Lynette and John can get Social Security disability, but this woman and her husband cannot. I have yet to understand. I don't know. I have donated. Just Jay has donated, and a couple other people. If you feel so inclined to donate, that would be amazing. And if not, completely understandable. However, I post it and let y'all make your own decisions. So, yeah, I don't know. That's one of the reasons that I'm like, when I've been talking to her, and I've been talking to her for months. This is not a new thing. So, and I'm kind of the one that told her to start a GoFundMe. So, because she didn't want to ask for help, and I was like, well, give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? So, I kind of pushed her into starting this GoFundMe. So, if y'all want to blame anybody for her grifting, you can blame me. But I told her that I would share it because I'm part of the reason that she started it. Sorry. Bates numbering, a method of organizing legal evidence. Example, organizing evidence is a topic, not necessarily one recovered. Thanks. I knew it was a legal filing system. I just didn't know like the ins and outs of it. So I appreciate Jeff, you always being my my go-to law enforcement dictionary person who explains things that I don't understand, because it's a big world out there and there's a lot of stuff, and I don't claim to know everything. I'm just interested in a lot of stuff. But on that note, I will see you guys later. I'm going to make this thumbnail, set up the other stream, and I will see you guys in a few hours. Bye.